So today, let's try a different way of thinking about AI. Not as, some disembodied mind, but more like a craftsperson. We're going to step into its workshop, see how it actually handles raw material. Let's start with the problem. Imagine you have a story, a really long one, like 385,000 words. And in that story, a character casts hundreds of different spells. Your job is to find just one thing. What was the very last spell they cast? Now, this isn't some kind of riddle. It's a real task that was given to an AI.
So this AI, which is actually a coding agent, gives it a shot. It writes a quick script to search for a bunch of spell keywords it already knows, and it fails. It completely misses a lot of the spells. Whole chunks of the text just come back as unknown. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of just stopping, it actually looks at why it failed. It starts to see new patterns in the text, these little domain-specific phrases it didn't know about before. So what does it do? It refines its script, adds these new patterns, and tries again. And this time it works. This whole loop, work, fail, learn, and refine, that's really the heart of what we're talking about today.
Okay, so that whole Dungeons & Dragons thing, it's really just a small-scale version of a much, much bigger problem. We want our AI models to be able to reason over these massive collections of information. Think scientific archives, entire legal libraries, or even the whole web. But how do you do that? How do you process a library's worth of text without just getting completely lost in it?
Well, it turns out there's this fundamental issue that researchers have a great name for: context rot. It's this weird paradox where the more information you stuff into a model all at once, the worse its performance can actually get. It's almost like trying to listen to 1,000 conversations at the same time. You'd think more data would mean more clarity, right? But a lot of the time, it just adds more noise.
Right now, we basically have two go-to ways of dealing with this, and neither one is perfect. The first approach is to just build a bigger brain, right? A giant context window. But that's kind of like speed reading an entire library in a single pass. Sure, it's impressive, but you're going to miss the details. You'll get stuff wrong, and you can't really trace back how you know what you know. The other common method is called retrieval, or RAG, and you can think of that as a simple search engine. It's great for pulling up a specific fact, but it really starts to struggle when you ask it a more complex question, one that needs it to connect the dots between a bunch of different places.
But the research we're diving into today proposes a third way, and it's pretty elegant. It doesn't try to read the entire library at once, and it doesn't just do a simple search of the catalog either. Instead, it treats the AI like a skilled librarian who's been let loose in the stacks with a very particular set of tools. And the core insight here is, well, it's simple, but it's also really powerful. Instead of just feeding this long, unstructured stream of text into the model, you give it structure. You actually turn the library into a literal file system, with files and folders. All that raw text from websites or books or whatever, it becomes a landscape that the AI can actually navigate. And since this is a coding agent, one that's been trained on millions of software projects, this is a landscape it already knows inside and out. See, this agent isn't just reading the text, it's actively working with it. It uses these simple, classic command line tools that any developer would know instantly. Things like grep to search for patterns, or sed to pull out specific lines. It can even write its own little scripts to count things up or analyze data. And it saves its notes along the way, creating these new files that track its progress. It's not a passive reader at all. It's an active researcher building its own understanding. And the really amazing part? Out of this very basic toolkit, these surprisingly complex strategies just start to emerge, all on their own. The agent almost becomes a specialist, adapting its whole approach based on what kind of question you ask it.
So, for example, if you ask it to find one single buried fact that's hard to locate, the agent turns into a detective. It'll run a search, find a clue, and then use that new piece of information to sharpen its next search, and so on, hopping from one clue to the next. But if you ask it to find a broad pattern across the whole dataset, say which person is mentioned most often, it completely changes tactics. It becomes an analyst. It doesn't just search, it actually writes a new program from scratch, a script designed to go through the entire file and tally up the results.
And that detective work can be seriously impressive. To answer one really tricky, multi-part question, the agent built this entire chain of discovery by itself. It started with just the name of a game company. From there, it followed this trail of breadcrumbs, from the company to its founder, then from the founder to his wife, then from his wife to the university she attended, which somehow led back to a video game, then to a famous player of that game, and finally to that player's real name. Just think about that. Every single step was a deliberate search, all built on what it found in the step before.
Okay, but this whole story, simple tools, clever emergent strategies, it has a plot twist, a complication,
a finding that kind of goes against everything we assume about how technology should work.
I mean, the common sense assumption is pretty straightforward, right? If you give a system a better, more advanced tool, like a fancy modern search engine instead of a basic one, you'd expect its results to get better.
But that's not what happened here. In fact, giving the agent a better tool sometimes made it worse at its job.
So when the researchers gave the agent one of these specialized, high-powered retrieval tools, something strange happened. The agent basically stopped doing its own detective work. You can see it right here in the numbers. The amount of basic searching it did for itself just plummeted. It started deferring to the easy tool, and because no retrieval tool is perfect, that sometimes meant it would miss the one crucial clue it needed. It's almost like it lost some of its own resourcefulness.
So what are we supposed to make of all this? What's the practical takeaway from this really deep dive into how these agents actually work?
Well, it leaves us with this. Despite those little quirks, this method is just extraordinarily effective. I mean, across 5 really difficult benchmarks, this whole approach of treating text like a code repository, it let the agent set new state-of-the-art records. And we're not talking about small gains here. In one case, it was an improvement of more than 50% over the previous best-known method. That's huge.
And I think the key insight is that the hard line we usually draw between, messy human language and clean, structured code, maybe that line is a lot blurrier than we think. It turns out that when you give language the structure of a software project, all of a sudden the tools we build for engineering become incredibly powerful tools for reading and understanding.
All of this seems to point toward a different metaphor for what it is we're building here, and maybe even for what we're becoming. When we think about AI, our default image is usually something pretty abstract, almost ethereal, right? We picture this vast, unknowable network of connections that somehow just thinks and produces an answer, a thinking machine.
But maybe that's not the most helpful way to see it anymore. Maybe it's better to imagine this kind of AI as something far more grounded, more like a builder in a workshop, someone surrounded by raw material who uses simple, reliable tools, a search command here, a little script there, to patiently construct an answer, piece by piece.
And that leaves us with one last thought to consider. For a long time, we've been obsessed with building an intelligence that knows everything. But maybe the real challenge, and the much bigger opportunity, is to build an intelligence that knows how to work with anything.